So if you listen to the media, they'll talk about how great the economy is doing, right? They'll talk about, oh, the stock market is up. They'll say, all right, it looks like we're going to avoid that hard landing when it comes to a recession. They'll say the inflation rate is going down. And they'll say everything they can just to make it look like the economy is doing great. But if you actually talk to people, they'll tell you how much they're struggling on their day-to-day living, right? Grocery prices are still expensive. Gas, energy prices, everything is up, and it's making the cost of living has increased for a lot of people. And if these are the people that you really want to talk to in terms of really gauging what's going on in the economy. But if you listen to the media, they'll say the total opposite. And not only that, but if you look at a lot of these businesses, especially in the restaurant industries, a lot of them are shutting down. A lot of them are losing sales, and it's gotten to a point where a lot of these restaurants are offering certain gimmicky offerings to get people in. You'll get just to get people into their doors, right? They're offering discounts on their menus, on certain meals, and they're trying to do whatever they can to get people in to their doors because a lot of them are losing sales, right? It's even got to a point where you got Subway that's calling emergency meetings for their franchisees just to discuss the state of the economy, state of the industry, because sales are going down. And this is what a lot of people aren't talking about because everyone wants to make it look like the economy is doing well, but these are signs that the economy is not doing that great, right? And you're gonna make an argument whether we're in a recession or not, but if you ask regular people, they'll tell you they feel like they're in a recession, even though we know the government is changing the definition of what a recession is. But we understand people, if you really talk to people, they understand that day to day that things are more expensive. No matter what they say about inflation rate, how much it's gone down, the inflation rate has gone down. People understand that things today cost more than it did a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And it's making it more difficult for a lot of people to live. Okay, and so which brings me to this article on the New York Post about Subway calling an emergency meeting. And I'll just say this: when it comes to Subway, I haven't eaten in Subway in years. It might be over 10 years. Right? I had a bad experience with them. Like I remember ordering a meatball sub, and as I was eating that sub, one of their meatballs were not fresh. And I was like, oh hell no, that was the last time I ate there. So I haven't eaten there in a long time. I think the quality of their food has gone down. And I prefer things like, I used to go Quiznos. I've heard Jersey Mike's is good. I never had Jersey Mike's, but I've heard good things about them. But with Subway, I haven't eaten them in a while, right? So just so you know that. But let's look at this article on the New York Post, right? It says Subway calls emergency meeting with franchisees as sales plummet, right? A source said. So it says, all right, so Subway has called a hasty meeting with franchisees of 19,000 North American sandwich shops as they grapple with faltering sales and profits, the Post has learned. The fast food giant, which sold itself in April for $9 billion to World Capital owner Dunkin', Arby's, and Baskin Robbins, told franchisees it will reveal plans to improve traffic and win back market share at the Thursday meeting. This conference is essential, Subway said in the invite. Join us to discuss the industry. All right. And it says, go down. It says, all right, the confab, which one franchisee called an emergency meeting, noting that the invite was only mailed out last week. All right. And I think this happened like a couple of days ago, this emergency meeting. And it says, we'll include a recap of promotional offers that are being tested in restaurants. There is no emergency virtual conference, a Subway spokesman said, disputing the emergency characterization of the Thursday meeting. We consistently and proactively communicate with our franchisees to share business updates and plans. Discounting has become a contentious topic of late. A Subway franchisee with nearly 20 stores told the Post his same-store sales are down 5 to 10% in recent weeks compared to the prior year. He blames this chain's recent price promotions as customers' traffic has dropped. So like I said, this is what I was talking about, where a lot of these fast food restaurants are offering a lot of discount promotions just to get people into the doors because they're noticing that a lot of people, they're losing traffic. Less people are coming into the doors. I even read an article about Starbucks, how their sales are dropping because less people are coming. I think more people, instead of people coming into to Starbucks to lounge around and drink coffee, and a lot of them are going through the drive-through, right? And that defeats the purpose of Starbucks, because Starbucks, what makes them so appealing is the fact that they create an experience when it comes to just drinking coffee. But if less people are coming into your store and going through the drive-through, that kind of defeats the purpose. Especially, the coffee isn't cheap. Right, so it's like, what's the point, right? I can get that same type of coffee somewhere else and not have to pay that much. But back to the article, It says they are doing crazy coupons, the franchise gripe. Our gross sales are not even at 2012 levels, and profit then was 5 times what it is today. The franchisees added that this store barely breaks even with the discounts. In a recent national ad campaign, NBA great Charles Barkley has been urging customers to buy any footlong in the app and get one free, charging $6.99 for any sub while there are $11 on the menu. The franchise lamented, offering 3 sandwiches for $17.99. All right, so it says Subway does not give its franchise national sales information, but the Eastern U.S. region with about 1,000 Subways saw average weekly same-store sales slip by 8.7% between June 25th and July 16th compared to a year earlier, according to the data shared with the Post. Subway's meeting seems very unusual, said restaurant consultant John Gordon, who noted that he recently has seen Subway sales numbers in West Coast and East Coast regions that show same-store sales drop 10% in the last few weeks. Los Angeles and San Diego same-store sales are down 8% for the week ending August 6th. Source said in the Southern California suburbs, they're off 2 to 5%, the source added. And that's versus last year when Subway boasted that its North American same-store sales were up 5.9% nation chain-wide. So it says, all right, so Subway is discounting its best-selling items, so it's hard for it to compensate for the lost revenue, sources said. The hope was that the new $3 footlong hot dipper snacks introduced in June would boost sales, but they are not selling enough for them. A source says Subway last year had more success when offering sidekicks, footlong cookies, pretzels, and churros, which helped fuel positive same-store sales despite 1.7% drop. But the buzz surrounding that snack offering has died off, according to Gordon. Now it says Subway, which owns none of its restaurants and makes its money through 8% royalty fees. So look, they don't even own their own restaurants, so they make the money off of royalty fees. So they don't really, I mean, they don't really care if you're a franchise owner, if you're not making money or not. As long as you're paying that 8% royalty fee, that's the main purpose. That's what they want to make sure. That's how they make their money. So it's like if you're an owner of a Subway restaurant, I mean, they don't really have an incentive to make sure you're doing well as long as you're making sure that you pay your royalty fee. So So it collects from franchisees, now faces interest payments on debts following its sale to Roark and can't afford to have declining earnings. Source said, see, now that because you got to pay those interest on that loan, you need to make sure people are making money. All right, so it says other chains increasingly are offering discounts to entice financially strapped customers, while White Castle slashed the price of its famed sliders to the lowest level in more than a decade. Nevertheless, fast food restaurants, excluding pizza joints, in July saw same-store sales down 2.9% compared to negative 1.9% in June, according to Bank of America. So you see, like a lot of these restaurants, fast food joints are losing sales, right? Their sales are declining. That gives you an idea of like the state of the economy. Like people are starting to say, you know what, fast food is just too expensive, and because the economy is so rough right now, cost of living is so much, we're gonna have to cut back on something. And obviously, fast food being something that people don't really need, and they're gonna cut back on that. So it makes sense that sales are dropping. And if you see that happening, that gives you an idea of what's going on in the economy. People are obviously strapped for money. Things are more expensive, so they have to cut back and make sure they can spend that money on the things that they need that are more important to them. And so so for them to have this emergency meeting, the so-called emergency meeting, it just gives you an idea of what's going on. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially when you look at the data, you look at the news, and they tell you so much, they tell you everything different, but they don't really report what's going on, especially in terms of like what's happening with businesses. Businesses shutting down, businesses are not making as much money as they did previously. So it gives you an idea of what's really going on. So let me hear your thoughts. Like, are you someone that shops at Subway? Me, I haven't eaten there in like years. Probably over 10 years. So let me hear your thoughts. So make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button, share. And if you haven't done so, make sure to subscribe. All right, so guys, take care and have a good one. Later.